Tokyo 2020 is just around the corner and the excitement is starting to build. Let's start at the very beginning, 5 years ago. But there was a small microscopic problem, which just got bigger and bigger. And sadly, Tokyo Olympics 2020 was replaced by Corona Pandemic 2020. IOC President Thomas Bach and the new Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga decided that the show must go on. But the challenges for them was just beginning. The name challenge. The first challenge for the duo was, what should be the event called now? Should it still be called as Tokyo 2020? Or should it be renamed as Tokyo 2021? It's a simple question, isn't it? Turns out that it's not as simple as it sounds. For starters, the whole event would have to be rebranded, and all the marketing and advertising strategies that have been worked out over the last 3 to 5 years would have to be modified for this name change. On top of it, just imagine the effort that would be needed to recreate all the souvenirs and, more importantly, the medals for the winners of the events. Looking at the huge costs involved and the time that it will take to make this small change, the organizers finally decided that they will retain Tokyo 2020 as the name of this event. Pandemic Games. Protests broke out in various parts of Japan as protesters did not want to hold the Olympics in the current state of coronavirus pandemic. One of the key concerns of the protesters is the slow rate of vaccination in Japan in comparison with the rest of the developed world. As of start of July, only around 12 to 15% of the population of Japan was fully inoculated. On top of it, there would be athletes who would be arriving from various hotspot regions around the world. This increases the chances of the emergence of a new variant, the Olympic variant, that could ravage the population of Japan. On the other hand, the organizing committee focused on the adverse impact of not holding the games on the economy of Japan. Many industries have participated in helping organize this event, and if it is not held, then many of them would be forced to shut down. Also, a huge amount of effort has been spent by the volunteers to make sure that this event is organized. Taking these points into consideration, the organizing committee decided to brush off the protests and decided that the show must go on. Unequal games. The Olympic Games have always strived for free and fair competition amongst athletes from all countries. But will athletes from certain countries get an unfair advantage at Tokyo 2020? The new coronavirus related guidelines released by the organizing committee raises the possibility of this situation. As per these rules, all athletes coming to Tokyo 2020 will need to undergo a 3-day quarantine. They would be tested every day and they would have to return back to their home country within 48 hours of their last event. But the athletes who are coming from regions with the Delta variant will face additional restrictions. What exactly these restrictions are is not yet clear. As of making of this video, this variant is present in 98 countries. So will the athletes from these countries be at a disadvantage? Transgender Issue. Tokyo 2020 will also see the first transgender Olympian, Laurel Hubbard, compete in a women's event. This should have been a very big progressive step for the transgender community and their acceptance to the society, but the way this issue has been handled by IOC seems to have opened up the Pandora's box. For centuries now, sports events have been segregated into male and female categories due to the differences in the physicality, strength and abilities of these two genders. Transgender people have a gender identity or a gender expression that differs from the sex that they were assigned at birth. So a person who was identified as male at the time of birth can choose to express as a female later on in life. But does this change in expression change the physicality, the ability and the strength of the person? But instead of clarifying these points, IOC decided to go ahead with the testosterone level as the criteria for deciding the participation of athletes. A transgender athlete who can demonstrate a testosterone level below 10 nanomoles per liter for at least 12 months before the event can participate in the female competition. Does this give such transgender athletes an unfair advantage in comparison with the other female athletes? I don't know, but the debate will go on. Could the IOC have handled this situation in a better way? Could they have created a separate category for the transgenders? Maybe initially these events might not be very viable, but in the long run this might have led to much more general acceptance of such athletes. No traveling fans. Unfortunately, the doors of Japan will be closed for traveling fans from other countries for the Olympics. For the fans who are still based in Japan, the news is not so bad. They would be allowed in the events up to a maximum of 10,000 people per event. In case of any outbreak, the organizing committee is willing to hold fanless events. Now, that would be a real pity. Usually, Olympics is in the news for its competition, its athletes and its fans. But Tokyo 2020 has been more in the news because of the money involved, the economics and the politics of the game. Let's hope this changes once the games begin. What do you guys think about Tokyo 2020? Let us know your views in the comment section. If you like this video, you can show us some love by clicking the like button. And you can subscribe to this channel if you are interested in more such videos. But most importantly, please enjoy the Tokyo Olympics.